Hi, welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue our journey in exploring a little bit more of this ancient language, which happened to be my mother tongue. And it's a discovery journey for me as well, because as a language user, I only stop at the very surface level. It's like a current contemporary meaning that's taught in school or at home in daily life to me, but it may not be its original shape, form, or meaning, or how it was made into this meaning. So this is really a lens to look at in the past, what through a lot of imagination and my reading up a little bit research on what other scholars are, I mean, not saying I'm a scholar, I'm not, the language scholars to say about how they view this character came into being. And I found in the process that people, I mean, even if people may be titled a scholar, it's only speculation, okay? We are only speculating how people made meaning. And especially Chinese is iconic language, iconographical, right? It's through image, capture meaning, pair it with sound, of course, but the image, this 2D representation of a 3D world was how Chinese made meaning. That's fascinating to me. So I'm discovering along with you. Okay, 上午 is today's phrase. And 上, yesterday we talked about 时尚, timed, adore. Like you adore something, but only is time, it's temporary, it's fleeting. So that's Chinese way to say fashion or trend. Okay, in 上午, today's expression, this 上, still it's about adoring something. And okay, yesterday we were talking about the door that I kind of guess it. I guess it's kind of a reasonable guess, educated guess, as much as I can by knowing what each of the icons know. So if we want to view the door now in three parts. So this shape is one, that means the air opening. Chinese use a lot of air opening symbol to represent something is separated. So it used to be one piece like that. Now it's cut into half. So separation. So obviously it's cut by this middle vertical line, right? This vertical line connected on this big arch thing, that's the orientation, that's direction. And then the mouse symbol underneath it, it's somebody thinking or talking, speaking something. Directionally speaking is what quote unquote influencers do, right? So directional speaking, and then with this separation of the air, that means you orient your direction, your thinking or your speaking. You can influence yourself as well, right? You can talk yourself into something. So you're orienting toward that with such a conviction that the air is split, apart, because you're facing that direction. Nothing is, you're unstoppable. Okay, so that's how Chinese depict a door. Basically, you have this goal, clear-minded direction to go. I mean, people use direction, but it's not always that can be visualized as a direction, right? It's what do you want to do? Like, I want to do 1 word a day. Like, how you can view it as a direction? Like, what's the end goal? What's the end of a journey over there? It's hard to say. It's hard to visualize. It's not exactly direction, except that I directionally choose to spend my time doing that. That's the sense of direction. And then because I have such a high interest in something, I adore this language, right? And then I can, do this air separating thing, not to split whatever obstacles I have in between me and where I'm going, that I can keep doing this. And that shows depict the behavior. When you adore something, you want to spend so much time that you can split whatever obstacle, because you're going that way. Okay, that's Sha, that means a door in kind of equivalent of English. Now, wu, I just recently learned it from an influencer who is a Chinese commentator, but San Francisco based, talking about movies. And he explained it in the middle of it. I think it's better than scholarly explanation of what this martial concept mean. I guess scholars can sense that too, because if you read to its components as icon stage, you probably can guess why was made up of these two characters. So first off, the top one, the two icons are separated, right? You can see the separation there. So the top one, pretty complicated shape. Got this, you got this again, that. Okay, so there are 4 strokes. It looks a complicated structure. That is a type of weaponry in ancient Chinese. So according to some scholars, this gu was a weaponry that was used probably 2,000 years ago. And later on, I mean, weaponry technology evolved as well, right? It was sunset. So this gu originally came from this farming tool that when people do farming, they need the sharp edges as well to cut through the ground, right? The soil, to break down the soil. And in wartime, farmers were converted into soldiers, and farming tools were converted into weapons. And because this farming tool, some sort of farming tool, I suspect is a type of plow with sharp edges on it, right? In wartime, it was converted into weaponry. But because the size of it was not that big, so oftentimes it was tied in onto a kind of a long staff. So you don't want to get too close to your enemy, right? You want to step at somebody from distance, so you're kind of safe from them. But this gu itself came from this farming tool that's kind of short-ended, but eventually in the language, it seeped into the language because it was the earliest form of farming to converted weapon. And it's one of the earliest and most commonly used because, hey, it was farming tool, everybody has it. It became the symbol of weapon. And from the weapon, it became the symbol for war or conflict or bloody battlefield, however you want to, embed into the icon of the earliest weaponry. And then the bottom means stop. Bottom, actually, this icon is Chinese symbol for foot. Okay, it's weird looking cactus toes. Okay, so just like Chinese often use 3 finger to hand symbol, Chinese create this 3-toe foot symbol as well. I mean, even if we have five toes, Chinese language creators view it's enough to just represent 3 of them. And this is the big toe. This is probably the middle toe, and this is the toes, the nerve system in toe wiring it's not like hand. Each single finger, like you can maneuver and change, right? Like you can do all kinds of hand symbol from it. But toes are not wired so sensitive to individual toes. So I guess the middle 3 toes were grouped together, running on the same highway of nerve of like the middle 3, and then the little toe and the first big toe kind of you can maneuver, operate them separately. That's my guess. So the 3-toe foot symbol, and this is the sole of the toe, like connected together, that actually means stop. Why? Because Chinese, when pair this foot symbol with walking symbol, which means which used 3 strokes in space, each one side of the footprint, because when people walk, when they are travel through space, the human tracks is this left and right footsteps, right? So Chinese eventually get rid of the right side of the footstep, just the left side. Repeated 3 times is enough to mean there is a spatial movement happening that you can see from the human footsteps in there. Just 3 of them is enough to show traveling. So when this traveling paired with foot symbol, that means you're moving in space. That means you're walking. Without the traveling, that means you're stopped. You're standing there, standing still without the movement. So that's how Chinese distinguish either you're walking or you're stopping. So this is the foot symbol by itself without the walking part. So it's stopped. So stop, weaponry. That is martial. I mean, how mind-blowing it is. Because we would imagine martial means combative, belligerent. You want to go out and make a kill. And no, the intention of the language creators put in there is to stop killing, stop using weaponry, stop this mindless, killing of another human being. So to stop, put a break on the actual use of violence is the intention put in there. And this gives me, connect the dots to another expression that by, I guess, Dr. Peterson, Jordan Peterson. Sometimes I tune into what he has to say. And he said, a man need to become beast, right? Men need to be dangerous. It's the same concept. Like you need to be dangerous to be able to stop violence, either against you or against your community. You need to have that martialness on you to become, make yourself a threat to whoever may threat the peace of your community. So that's the essence of what martial represents. It doesn't mean go out there, have a fight. No, it means stop fighting. All right, so adore martial simply means, well, in contemporary context, it means militaristic. Okay, militaristic means a culture or a decision or government or a group of people. Mostly in contemporary setting, it's a nation, is pro-military. Can be quantified by the percentage of their military spending over their annual budgeting. Right? So if a high percentage, that means this country want to invest more in, equip themselves up for war. Or like in people in its population, if people are practicing, I don't know, martial art probably is not. It's not really relevant to today's military operation. But if you want to build up like your military force made up by people, like people need to have that military wartime thinking as well. That's what militaristic represents. 上武 simply means you're either equipped by, capital wise or mindset wise, or your population is more toward arm yourself up or equip yourself up so that you can be effective in defense of your nation or community. So that's what 上武 is about. It's not go out search for fight. No, it's to avoid being bullied or being picked upon, international relationship kind of that the culture or the nation is pro getting themselves armed, however form of arming that is. So that's 上武. Cash into the currency of thinking by one word a day. With Sophie. See you another day.